Okay, so now we're going to work with sum to infinity, where we convert recurring decimals into common fractions. So now we can use the sum to infinity formula to convert recurring decimals into common fractions. So in order for you to answer this question, you need to write this recurring decimal as an infinite series. So I'm just gonna give you let's start with the first one, number A. So in order for you to answer number A, the first thing that you need to do is to write the 0.3 recurring in what? In an infinite series. So if you write this in an infinite series, this will be equal to the first number. It will be that 0.3. So now which number? We only have one number that is repeating, which is 3. So this tells us that the next one, we're going to add 1 0 there after a comma. So it's going to be 0.03. The next term, we add 0 after a comma on the previous term. So it's going to be 0.003 and so on. So this is how you create the infinite series. So now that you have the infinite series, you can just determine the value of A. You can tell us what is the value of A, which is the first term. The value of A is 0.3, the first term. And what is R? You need to find R and say the value of R will be T2 divided by T1. So if you still remember, you need to understand what is your term 1, what is your term 2. So this is my term 1, this is term 2, this is term 3. So now we can just substitute term 1 and term 2 here. So this will be 0.03. We divide that by 0.3. So what is R when you substitute that? So the value of R will be equals to, you just have to punch that on the calculator and this will give us 0.1. So that is the value of R. Now that you have the value of R, this is the value of R. We can substitute. We have the value of R. We have the value of A. We can just substitute this into the formulas. So now we can say the sum to infinity. You know the formula for sum to infinity. The sum to infinity is equals to A over 1 minus R. We just have to substitute the value of R. So if we do the substitution, the sum to infinity will give us what? The sum to infinity is 0.3, which is the value of A, the first term, divided by 1 minus R of 0.1. Therefore, we have the sum to infinity. You just have to punch it on the calculator, and this gives us 1 over 3. So the sum to infinity is 1 over 3. So this will be equals to 1 over 3. So now, therefore, we can conclude and say that, remember we said we can use the sum to infinity to convert recurring decimal into common fraction. So we can say that 0.3 recurring, we can write it as 1 over 3. So now, let's work on the second example, which is B. So this one, in order for us to change this into infinite series, we know that the 0.16, now if you can check, we have 1 and 6 recurring. So how do we write the infinite series for this one? How do we write it? First thing, we start with that same 0.16. The first one, it will be 0.16. That is the first term. The second term, since we have two terms, two numbers that are recurring, we're going to add 2 zeros after a comma. So this will be 0.0016. To find the next one, from this term here, we need to add 2 zeros, which will be 0.000016. So now this is how you convert this recurring number into an infinite series. So you just have to give us the value of A. You give us the value of A and you give us the value of r. So the value of a, if you check, is your first term, which is 0.16, and we need r. So r is equals to t2 divided by t1. This is my t1, this is my t2. So this will be equal to 0.016 over, okay, it's 0.00. Okay, so this will be 0.0016. And we're going to divide this guy by what? By 0.16. So you need to divide it and tell me what you get. So when you divide this, your r is equals to 0.01. Right. So now we have the value of r. We have the value of r and a. We can just do our substitution. We have the value of a as 0.16. And we have the value of r as what? 0.01. We can just do the substitution and solve this problem. So let us substitute. The sum to infinity, it's equals to a over 1 minus r. We do the substitution. This will be the sum to infinity. It's equals to a on top, which is 0.16, divided by 1 minus r of 1. What is the value of r? It's 0.01. You just have to punch that on the calculator. You'll find that your sum to infinity, it's equals to 16 over 99. So this tells us that therefore we can conclude and say 0.16 recurring. This guy, we can write it as a common fraction as 16 over 99. And this is how you answer these questions.